Jijivisha is the desire to live. It comes from God Himself. He is eternal. And as His little parts, we are also eternal. But in material existence, our consciousness is tied to the body. And so we experience the phenomenon of death, which goes against the instinct of the soul. So the soul desires to live. If somebody is fed up of their life and say it would be better that I die, you place your hand around the person's neck. So what are you doing? You said you wish to die, I'm going to help you. Hey, don't you dare. They will bear tons of miseries and yet desire to keep living. So this urge to live is there. Now, the bhogi, the person who seeks to enjoy the world, is attached to the pleasures and the things of the world. And death means the end of enjoyment and separation from all things that were endeared. And hence, the worldly person fears death. It is considered the biggest fear in life. So the worldly person seeks to live. A devotee also seeks to live, because the devotee realizes the value of the human form and wishes to put it to good use. So a devotee thinks, I have this brief opportunity, let me use it to the best. One priest arrived at the gas station on the Friday of the long weekend. There was a huge line. The attendant at the gas station, when the priest's numbers came, said, Sir, what to do? People wait until the last minute before filling the gas, hence the long line. The priest said, the same as in my profession as well, they keep waiting until death is about to come. So, the idea is not to wait till the last, but to use our life properly. Now here, Sri Aurobindo in his Bhashya of this Ishopanishad has emphasized the word eva. Kurvanneva karmani. O human beings, strive to do your karma. By eva, the emphasis is given. If you wish to understand the word karma a little deeply, there are three kinds of karma. One is the sanchit karma of endless lifetimes, the stockpile of your karmas of endless lifetimes. From that, when you come down every time, God takes one portion and gives it to you. This portion of your karmas you need to bear in this life. That becomes your prarabdha for this life. Now the sanchit is the stockpile, the prarabdha is that with which you have come. Just like if you are playing Scrabble, you are given those letters and you have to play with them. That is the prarabdha. But how you play is in your hands. Likewise, the thing in our hands is the kriyaman. Kriyaman is the karma that you do with your independent free will. That kriyaman is what is being talked about here. How can we do that kriyaman? It can be done in three ways. One is called karma, the other is called vikarma, and the third is called akarma. So there is karma, akarma and vikarma. Karma is the ritualistic practices and duties as mentioned in the scriptures. So some people say work is worship. Just do your duty, that is the end all of life. However, merely doing duty does not suffice. Doing your duty is a good thing. It is better than committing sin. But if you just do your worldly duty, if you do the karma that is written in the scriptures, it will either give you the opulences of the world or elevation to the spiritual abodes. However, your ultimate goal of life will not be fulfilled. So the second option then is vikarma. Vikarma is not an option. This is sin. If we do sin, we will go to Narak. That is talked about in the next mantra. There's a third option, and that is called akarma. Akarma is something where you are doing karma and yet not entangled in the results. Shree Krishna has said in the Gita, karmanya karmaya pashyed akarmani cha karmaya. So buddhiman manusheshu sayukta kritsna karma krit. Arjun, one who can see karma in akarma and akarma in karma truly sees. It's a very confusing statement. Can you see karma in akarma and akarma in karma? One person is sitting and doing nothing. God says, even this is a karma. Your mind is full of attachments. Your mind is full of hankerings. Just sitting and doing is not a karma. You will be entangled in consequences. On the other hand, somebody else is doing everything. And yet God says he is doing nothing. Why? Because he has no attachment to the results. That person is doing it merely as a form of duty, as a service to the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. When you do something for a higher purpose, even in the world, you become absolved. Just like there is a law of the land. If you hurt somebody, it's a sin. If you kill, take life, it's a terrible sin. One could even be hanged for it. Now here is one man who has killed another, and he is brought to court. The judge says, you killed him? Yes, Your Honor, I killed him. Then you should be hanged. I cannot be hanged. Why? I was just following the general's orders. I am a soldier in the army. The general asked me to kill that person there. I followed the orders. If there's anything wrong with the order, you settle it with the general. I am not responsible for it. So even in the world, that person remains untouched by consequences. This is the akarma of the Bhagavad Gita and the Ishopanishad. Shree Krishna says, Arjun, you do everything as an offering without attachment to results. And likewise, this mantra is saying, you do your works with the right attitude. And what is the right attitude? It was explained in the previous mantra. The whole world belongs to God. It is all for His pleasure. One person discovered that his telephone bill had gone so high, the landline in his home. He asked his wife that, have you been overusing the phone? She said, no, whenever I need to make a lot of phone calls, I use the office phone. I call from the office. She asked the husband. He said, I also make my phone calls from the office. They asked the daughter. She said, no, I use the office phone. The suspicion then went on the maid. The maid used to come. She has been not only using but overusing our phone. They asked the maid, you have been using the phone? She said, I've also been using my office phone. So, it's the misuse when you think everything is for me. And the spiritual consciousness flips it around. Everything is His. And it is for His pleasure. So when you start doing karmas with that mindset, that is called Akarma. Doing nothing while doing everything. In fact, the example of Arjuna, he was in a battle, and at the end of the battle, Shree Krishna said Arjuna did nothing. And why not? Because Arjuna had no attachments to the results. So what he was doing was a multiplication in zeros. You multiply 100 with 0, the result is 0. You multiply 1,000,000 with 0 and the result is still 0. So likewise, this mantra is saying that you do Akarma. Another name for that Akarma is Karma Yog. So when you are doing Karma Yog, the important thing is the detachment from the results. That detachment is your guarantee. If you are detached, then you are not going to be entangled, embroiled. That is why the Bhagavad Gita says, Yastu karma phalatyagi satyagitya vidhiyate. The true renunciant is not one who is not working. He is saying, work hard. But the one who has renounced the fruits to the actions. And what is the test of that renunciation? Everybody can say, I am doing this for the pleasure of God. What is the proof? The proof is that when the results are reverse, it does not disturb you. If you become inordinately disturbed, I tried so hard, it did not work out. That means the results were not being offered to God but to yourself. And if you were doing it in the spirit of Krishna Arpanam, you'll then rationalize it. Maybe Shree Krishna wanted it like this. Who knows? The first few satsangis I made, there was a girl. Maharaj Ji engaged her in seva. And her seva was to go and do chanda for a construction that was happening in the Guru Ashram. So, she was doing this. She would go out collecting donations. And Maharaj Ji had teamed her up with a college professor, a lady who was also a satsangi. The two of them would go. Now generally when you go around trying to collect like that, the average is 1 out of 10. which means 9, you'll get negatives and 1 positive. So on this particular day from morning, they had 27 misses and they both got disturbed. In those days, the satsang was very small and people could even call Maharaj Ji. There was no mobiles, of course, on the landline. So they gave a call. Maharaj Ji came on the line. They said, Maharaj Ji, we've got such bad luck. Since morning, not one success. And Maharaj Ji had a hearty laugh. On that, the matter ended. They put the phone down. And then they said that if Maharaj Ji is happy, then why should we be sad? We are doing it for his pleasure. If he is unaffected by it, why should we be affected by it? And then they put 2 and 2 together, that the Guru's purpose is served more when we don't succeed than when we succeed. If we succeed, it will gratify our ego. But if we don't get a donation, we will learn humbleness, we will learn tolerance, we will grow in our emotional maturity. Likewise, what is pleasing to God, He alone knows. Our job is to do our best and to leave to God all the rest. So the mantra is stating that with the right kind of attitude, you do your works, and that will be called Akarma, which means while doing everything, you will also be doing nothing, because there will be no consequences of those actions.